24 years old, getting married in Chanel haute couture. Don't we all feel dirt poor? Hey everyone, and welcome back to a brand new video. All right, I feel like I owe you guys a video on this because there is so much Chanel fashion, Chanel haute couture in particular, but also accessories and ready-to-wear that was featured in this viral wedding on social media that, in my opinion, is far from quiet. And it is deemed quiet and stealth wealth, but it's far from quiet. But definitely very admirable. It's definitely beautiful. I think Sofia Richie is stunning. I had no idea who this person was. Please comment in the comment section down below if you're like me and had no idea who this girl was, because I had no idea. I don't really follow a whole lot of reality TV, but then again, like with social media and everything, I'm pretty sure we know about a lot of the people who are involved. We know who Lionel Richie is. We know who his daughter Nicole Richie is, who I thought was the only daughter. I knew that he had adopted Nicole Richie. And I didn't know that he had two other biological children with his second wife. So that was news to me. So I guess I'm not the only one, because a lot of people are like, who is this chick? And the first exposure I had to this wedding was someone had sent me a photo on Instagram, and she was modeling this handbag from Chanel. It was a classic flap, special edition classic flap that she was holding. And they sent me this photo because I actually saw this bag in boutique in Toronto last year around this time. And I was actually I was in love with this bag. It was stunning. It was like, it kind of like a, how should I call it? It was like a white canvas, but a little bit more looser knit with camellias, and then it had this like ribbon under the camellias. The ribbon was nice, but it kind of made the bag a little bit cheap looking, I'll be honest, but it was beautiful. Really, really stunning. It had a beautiful like red interior with a special plaque inside, which you get often on special edition bags, but I've seen them on other bags. But usually when there's like a special edition, they have that plaque. I have a couple of special edition bags that have a plaque inside, and I saw this, and the price was not outrageous. I'll show you some mod shots of me trying it on. I probably would have bought it, but I didn't need a bag, and it would have been like a dust magnet for sure. But it was stunning. And you know, I was like, somebody needs to buy this, and the price point was not outrageous that you would see usually on classic flap bags. Like at that point, you know, we didn't have the drastic increase, but at that point, like Chanel classic flap bags were around 11,000 Canadian dollars, and then I think with tax, that's what the price was last year. And this bag was around, I think, 12. Like, there wasn't a huge jump at the time. And like, to me, I was like, wow, this is a special edition bag. It's beautiful. And they sent me this photo of her wearing it, and I had no idea who this person was. And I was like, oh my gosh, the bag, right? But again, like, you know, compared to other, let me show you a photo of a really, really special classic flap that I saw in Las Vegas a couple of years ago. I saw it on 3 separate occasions at the Encore boutique when it was still there, and it was definitely a sight to see. And at that time, the medium classic flap was I guess $5K US, and this classic flap was $36,000 US plus tax. So it was quite expensive, but exquisite, absolutely exquisite, stunning. Apparently somebody in the royal family ended up buying it when I went and returned. I got to hold it, I got to touch it, like it was absolutely stunning. So that is like a dream bag, but I don't think I'd spend that kind of money on that. But anyway, so I saw this and I was like, oh wow, like, but I didn't even know who this girl was. And then I started seeing a lot of photos come up on Instagram and looking at reels, and you know, of course there's this huge like viral topic right now on social media of stealth wealth and quiet luxury. And I did a video on this, and you know, I am getting quite fed up of this, honestly. I hate talking about it because it's not new. It's been going on, like these videos have been popping up on TikToks for like 2 years, and I was getting really tired of it, but it's gained a lot of momentum. Now, they really harnessed this momentum with this wedding. Okay, so this wedding was absolutely stunning. So if you guys don't already know, Sofia Richie is Lionel Richie's daughter, biological daughter, and you know, rich father, rich parents, and has married another rich father's son, who is Elliot Grange. So that is Lucien Grange, that's his son. And they are a huge music producing family. So Lucien Grange owns, I think, something called Universal Media Group, I think. Am I mistaken? Universal Music Group. Okay, so this is a huge entity that has actually like bought over other entities that manage artists like Kanye West. So this guy's huge, and has also you know, Lionel Richie also has collaborated with Lucien as well with his records. And so all in all, these two families go way back, and they know each other really well. They're in the music industry. So like, you know, parents usually kind of want to have their kids marry into families that they already know, right? I mean, and this is across cultures, right? Even in my culture, like families want to know, would prefer to, you know, marry their kids into families that they already have good relationships with. I mean, I think that's always really nice, because then you maintain that relationship, hopefully. I mean, I've seen it go sour in some situations, but usually that's the case. But anyway, so Sofia Richie got married in the south of France, Hotel du Cap Eden Rock in Antibes, which is in the French Riviera. Actually, if you've ever been, you can actually drive along the coastline, and you can stop by Antibes, which is a really beautiful spot. And there's so many places. I love the French Riviera. I mean, I've been there a few times. I'd absolutely love to go back. But stunning place to visit. And so it's bougie. It was really bougie. This wedding was quite expensive. I think I heard a quote that it was like around 4 to 5 million US dollars. It's the wedding packages. There's videos of people doing quotations for wedding packages. So it's actually quite expensive. And you know, they had like a lot of flowers as well. So that's like really expensive. They also had a musician, Steven Sanchez, who sung Until I Found You, which is a really nice song. I think it's, you know, not too new, and I'm pretty sure I heard the sound bit used as like a background sound on TikTok and Instagram Reels before this wedding. So it was already quite popular and viral. And then, you know, of course, he sang it live with during her walk down the aisle, and then replaced the word like the name Georgia with Sophia. And you know, that's like it's a really pretty, really beautiful song. I think her wedding was a dream. Okay, like no shade to her or her family. Like I think she's absolutely stunning. She's a beautiful girl. She's really young. She has beautiful porcelain skin, right? I mean, like, hey, if I looked like that without makeup, I would do the clean makeup trend, right? But you know, she's a stunning girl. And one of you actually messaged me on Instagram, and you told me that you actually met her, and you were staying at this hotel before the wedding. Like they were setting up for the wedding, and so you met her, and she was at the pool wearing like Chanel cover-ups, and that she's just very sweet in person. And that's like really nice to see. I feel like she's captured a lot of hearts for a lot of people on social media, and especially like a lot of young women are really aspiring to this aesthetic that she's you know, adopted for her wedding. A lot of people are kind of talking about like how she's married like a rich man, like she is rich herself, like, but of course, you know, her husband's family, like they're billionaires. Lucien has been knighted by Prince William, so he goes by Sir, and his wife goes by Lady. So they're rich, but they're not old money. None of the families are. They have a lot of money, but they're not old money. Okay, so old money I would consider more than 3 generations. I would say if you're 4th generation and you've inherited like your great grandparents' wealth, you are old money, okay? So these are not old money people, but definitely what people would call Nepo babies. And a lot of people don't really like Nepo babies because, you know, they're flexing with daddy's credit card, right? Or they're getting opportunities because of their parents, right? They're really harnessing the pull that their parents have, the connections that their parents have, to become successful and land these opportunities. And you know, you can't hate people for that. You can't hate people for being rich and well connected because of their parents, because they didn't choose their parents, right? Like they were born into this family. You can't hate them. And I feel like a lot of these people kind of actually have like a internal suffering in a way, because they get hated on and then they have to really justify everything that they do and really show that they're struggling as well, that they have to work hard for what they have to work hard for. But they, again, of course they're privileged, right? They have to recognize their privilege. But I feel like it's even worse because people already kind of despise you and then don't really value, if you value what you do for work anyway. I have no idea what Sofia had done before, but apparently she did model. So, and she's beautiful. Some were saying that she's a Chanel ambassador. I don't know if she's actually an ambassador, but she did model for Chanel on a few occasions. I think in like 2016, there's a picture of her modeling at a show that was held at the Ritz after the renos were complete. So maybe, I don't know if she's an actual ambassador. And this girl's young, she's 24 years old. So people are like, oh yeah, she married a rich husband and she glowed up and she, you know, she's now like, look at her style transition. And they have like these contrast photos of her wearing ripped jeans and crop tops and dating Scott Disick and then really leveling up, right? And marrying Elliot. Now, but you know, also it's the maturation process too. I mean, like 20-year-old, 19-year-old, 18-year-old, like you don't even know your own style yet. And then when you become, you know, when you start entering into adulthood, then, and you have money, of course your style is going to change, right? Like, and it could also have to do with maybe her family, like that she's marrying into, right? Like maybe they're very modest, right? Maybe that's the expectation they have in that family, and she had to sort of adopt that. But nonetheless, I mean, I would say, like, of course, this wedding was absolutely beautiful, very classy, very elegant. And the elegance comes from a little bit of the modesty as well that has been shown, that is in direct contrast to another family that people are comparing this family to, right? Particularly the Kardashians. So going to the outfits, so she wore haute couture from Chanel for her wedding day. Obviously that dress, which is from 2023 spring summer haute couture. And of course it was made to measure for her. I mean, it's couture, right? So they had little details and all that. And you know, these type of dresses, they can, I'm not a haute couture client, okay? Maybe someday, but these dresses are upwards of $250,000. You know, that's kind of the level you're talking at. But then she also, and I was talking to Jacob about this, Super Jacob. I was like, did you, like, no, when this came out, I'm like, have you seen this wedding? Like, and he was like, oh, who is this chick? And maybe he's done some research on it. Maybe he'll do a live stream. I don't know, because I asked him, I'm like, you should really talk about this in your video or live stream. And then in the meantime, the Met Gala was coming in, so I think he has like a full schedule of topics that he wants to talk about. So I showed him pictures and he's like, oh, like, she's actually wearing like haute couture, but I'm like very surprised that they've pulled stuff from the archives. So she wore for her reception, she wore a mini dress that was worn by Claudia Schiffer. Yeah, Claudia Schiffer. And like mini dress with like the big camellia on the top. It's very like structured, looked amazing on her. But they pulled that from like the 90s and made it for her, which is crazy, right? Like, you definitely, I mean, I don't think they do that for everybody. And also there was another dress that was very ornate that she wore for her rehearsal dinner. It was like sleeved and it had like all this embellishment hanging. That is also from the 90s. And it's an haute couture piece from the 90s that was recreated for her, pulled from the archives. It's a lot of money. So, I mean, it could be like maybe her in-laws, right? Like her mother-in-law goes by Lady. So I'm sure she's an haute couture client and I'm sure they've done that. But people were saying, oh, was this a PR thing on behalf of Chanel? And I was thinking, I'm like, you know, there's a lot of Chanel in this wedding. Did Chanel sponsor this wedding? Like, was there some PR strategy here and, you know, to make them more relevant to like the younger generation? And I don't know. It's a lot of money. And even Jacob was saying this, it's like, this is a lot of money for them to be, you know, just giving her these dresses. No, but they were definitely featured and it was really like front row center for this wedding. A lot of people were talking about Chanel, you know, because you think about it, there's been a lot of distaste for the brand, especially among younger people online because of like quality issues that people are complaining about, and particularly like these aggressive price rises. So like, was this like a strategic way to kind of interject yourself, even if they did pay for it, to become more relevant again? Because this whole wedding, whether it was done on purpose or not, which I think it was obviously done with intent, you know, a lot of like, you choose what you do, right, for your wedding. This is not by coincidence, but it could be. This is just my opinion. You may disagree, but this was carefully executed PR move for her. I had no idea who this girl was, and now she's the it girl. She's the face of stealth wealth and quiet luxury, which there's nothing quiet about her wedding, okay, I'm going to say that. But a lot of girls, young girls, are aspiring to be her, like they love her aesthetic, and you know, she's very relatable, yet not relatable to people. And you know, I don't know, like, I don't think they gave her anything for free. I don't think Chanel gave her anything for free, but definitely positioned themselves really really strategically. Okay, now also this whole, whoever planned this wedding, I mean, whoever was part of this, I mean, this wedding was showcased on her social media, right? Like, there was nothing silent about this. It's an expensive, lavish wedding, and it was on, like, you know, Instagram Reels, TikTok, and all over social media, and it was timed so well with the trends on social media. And also there's like subtle like snubbing to Kardashians, right? Because a lot of people have distaste for the Kardashians, right? Like, for a number of different reasons. I mean, they were the early influencers, and now we've clued in on like how they've made their money. They were literally influencers on a reality TV show. I mean, if you look at their earlier episodes, I was watching some earlier episodes on a flight, and I'm like, wow, they've come a long way. Money does a lot, right? But I could see like the subtle advertisements they had, and they were being paid for it to showcase on their reality show. And then now we know that they've taken to social media, and they've definitely were the influencers, and then now people like clued in, like, wow, like this is how they've made their money. And they start hating on it, and they start hating on this lavish lifestyle that they live, that's very extravagant and very loud. And look at me wearing a very loud Chanel ready-to-wear piece. This is not quiet luxury. This is very loud Chanel that I'm wearing, which I got on sale. But the thing is with the Kardashians, like, because I mean, of course there's a connection there, right? Like, Sofia Richie apparently dated Scott Disick. There was a huge age gap, and I remember he was dating a really young girl, but I didn't know who she was. Like, I saw, and like, it was a little bit controversial. And then apparently she gave him an ultimatum. Like, I remember he had to either choose Kourtney or her, something like that. Kourtney Kardashian, if anybody doesn't know. But it's like, it's so interesting, the shade, the subtle shade that was thrown on them and amplified by consumers of social media, right? Like it was just like a little hint. It's like they threw a match on like gasoline and then everybody started to explode this fire. I think it's really interesting whether it was done on purpose or not. Again, I think it was definitely strategic, to not necessarily like crap on the Kardashians, but to really make her viral. It was definitely strategic for sure. Sofia Richie becoming the it girl, becoming very viral and well known through this wedding, that was expertly orchestrated. There was nothing coincidental about this. They really harnessed the power of social media trends, stealth wealth, quiet luxury, to propel this girl, this woman, into it girl status. And one of the strategies to really gain a following on social media is to observe what's trending. Where is the distaste going towards? Like, what do people hate? What are people starting to hate more of? And then becoming the complete opposite of that. So anytime there is something that the public hates, or there's something that people have started to really express a distaste for, such as like extravagance and, you know, the Kardashians and the drama that they have, and you emulate the complete opposite of that, you will win their hearts, right? People are like, yeah, exactly. Like, I agree, right? Like people really start to, gravitate towards this other figure, right? Because they're so different from what they actually hate and what they don't like, right? So, you know, that's another way to gain popularity in social media, right? So it's like this real life algorithm that they were really harnessing. People had a huge distaste for the Kardashians and their extravagant lifestyle, and you know, looking at like the drama with like Kylie and like, you know, Hailey, what's her face? Hailey Bieber? Yeah, something like that. I think they're somehow connected. You know what? It's like all these people, it's like they pee in their own pool, right? Like they're a clique and they pee in their own pool, right? They are all somehow connected. It's like an incestuous thing that's happening. Okay, so they're all connected, and there's like so many videos, right, where people like explain how like so and so is connected and who was, you know, sleeping with who, and it just, yeah. So there's a lot of drama, and you know, they were like Kylie and all these other people that she's connected to were the mean girls now, and people hated that. And it's like the subtle shade, right? Like Kylie's like got a huge cosmetics label, right? Kylie Cosmetics, and she promotes a lot of her products, especially like lip products, online via social media, and has become very successful because of that. And you know, you look at the makeup that has gone viral for Sofia Richie, and it's very natural and very like clean, right? Like the no makeup trend, which, you know, it's really hard to pull off. I mean, step one, you have to already be really gorgeous, which she is, right? So step one, be naturally gorgeous as it is. But like she was using a lot of nude sticks. So Nude Sticks is like a cream stick makeup brand. I don't use any of it, but I've seen a lot of people really liking it. They had like a pop-up in Toronto and people were going crazy. And now she's I think a director for the brand as well, so it's no surprise that they use like the nude sticks on her, and then like the lip products as well. And then something about mascara, which I thought was really interesting, because there was like a mascara controversy with Kylie, something where she posted a video, like I think it was like some apology video, but then she was promoting her new mascara. So if somebody knows what that drama is, please enlighten us in the comment section down below. But it was something to do with that. I saw a post about that. And then you have like Sofia Richie going, oh, I just use Maybelline mascara. So overall de-influencing the Kardashian family, okay? And then also it's like Sir Lucien Grange has a media group like music and entertainment media group, okay, which does oversee a lot of these people, right? Like, so it's like, what a, you know, brilliant move. Marrying like their boss, right? Like marrying their boss's family, which is, there's just so much here to unpack that I just think it's brilliant. Like, I'm in awe. I'm like, wow, right? I'm in awe, like how they pull this off. I mean, yeah, money does a lot. Like, there's a lot of money spent on this wedding, but it was done in such a smart way to get this girl out there. So yeah, I mean, again, people were already had this huge distaste for like extravagant lifestyles, you know, given the current economic climate. And then they really resonate with Sofia Richie, who, in a way, for them, like a lot of young women don't see her as being extravagant and loud, but yet, like, there's nothing quiet about her wedding, right? Like, they spent a lot of money on her wedding. So I just thought that was really interesting. I'm here for all the Chanel that she was wearing. I think it was absolutely stunning. I love a lot of embroidery, of course. Like, I'm Indian, so we like that stuff, but not at that price point. Now, speaking of algorithms and social media, like they did have some celebrities at their wedding, obviously, right? Like, I mean, they had like Paris Hilton and who else? Cameron Diaz, I think. So they had some like notable celebrities that were, you know, relevant to the family, obviously, but then they also had like a lot of like social media influencers as well that were, you know, pretty viral on TikTok. And it's like they broadcast this wedding on social media that felt very organic and relatable to people. So, you know, especially with like the younger, like Gen Z, right? Because they're on this stuff, right? So they felt like, oh, this is like somebody, like we're having like a sneak peek into a really rich person's wedding. But then this wedding was also like broadcast, like not broadcast, but like showcased and featured by Vogue, like photographed by Vogue. And so it's like, it seemed organic and relatable, and you know, she's like the girl next door, and this is like not too showy of a wedding, but it was really out there and extravagant, right? It's interesting to like really observe like the huge difference of public perception to the wedding of Sofia Richie and the wedding of Kourtney Kardashian, right? The Kardashians are like labeled as loud luxury and you know, new money, right? Which they are. They're not generational wealth, right? And you know, are kind of like dismissed because they're really extravagant, but they have very similar backgrounds to Sofia Richie, right? Like, you know, she is also the daughter of a pop star. So both women, Sofia and Kourtney are like considered Nepo babies. Both got married in Europe. So there's that. And both married people in the music industry. Both picked a luxury fashion house to custom fit all their and custom design all their wedding outfits. They both dated Scott Disick, right? So it's pretty interesting. But like, yeah, there's definitely a lot of like backlash against the Kardashians because of this wedding. But it's just interesting that Sofia Richie is considered like an aspiration for like young women, despite her being the daughter of a very successful, a very wealthy pop star, Lionel Richie. But you know, it's like I'm seeing these like girls on TikTok and Instagram, like really just like admiring and aspiring to be like Sofia.
Also, many people on social media are saluting this whole wedding as embodying the quiet luxury aesthetic. Hello, she's wearing very recognizable logos in all of her posts. in a lot of the outfits that she's wearing on the trip that are obviously Chanel ready to wear and accessories. The very thing that people are shunning as loud luxury or new money aesthetic. I think the correct way of classifying her aesthetic is classy as opposed to vulgar.
But just keep in mind, like, you know, it's kind of hard to be her without all that money. And some people were even posting that they felt inadequate, like actually inadequate, because, you know, they're getting married and they can't really accomplish that aesthetic. And I can see how somebody can fall into that trap, even though it might seem silly. But like all of a sudden, like this has gone viral and it's like, okay, well, how do I buy an haute couture Chanel wedding dress or something like that, right? Like it's really expensive. But I just thought that this was really interesting. I have no idea how Chanel plays a part into this. I would have to say that, I don't think they sponsored this wedding, obviously. But they definitely really did jump at the opportunity to be the fashion house of choice, because even if the families paid for all that, but definitely it was a great PR move. So yes, we can admire from afar, looking at all I just love that bag that she was wearing. I think it was a good move that I didn't buy it, because it was something I didn't need and it would have collected dust and it would have been very hard to clean. So I have no regrets. Let me know if you enjoyed this talk. Let me know if there's any other, comments that you'd like to make, anything that you know, anything that you observed. Let me know in the comment section down below, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.